Folks, it is a beautiful thing to see black folks finally waking up from this almost century-long slumber. Black folk have been asleep, propagandized, lied to, bamboozled, damn hoodwinked. You understand me? And finally, I am seeing it happening in real time, and I know the rest of y'all are. And it's not just black folks waking up, it's everybody. There is a mass conscious shift taking place right here in real time. There is light that is being shone onto those dark spaces, and I'm here for it. So let's get into one of those sorts of awakenings in real time. I'm gonna go ahead and give this sister right here the floor, and I'm gonna sit back and sip on my tea. So let's get into it.
It is not because you are black. I repeat, it is not because you are black. It is because you lack morals, self-respect, and character. You are loud, you are obnoxious, disrespectful, with very little regard for anyone else. You don't just tolerate dysfunction, you defend it. You protect the degenerates, and then you try to silence anyone who is calling for accountability. You let the worst of the community become the face of the community, and then you get upset when the world treats you like we are all degenerates. And then you want people to care about black lives. When black people kill more black people than anyone, we are first in line to get an abortion. And the children that are actually in the community, they can't even fucking read. And then instead of holding accountability for the things that are actually going on in our community, we scapegoat white people. White people that have nothing to do with what is going on within the black community. So if it is because you're black, thank other black people.
Yeah, it's because I'm black. You know, I've been hearing that a majority of my life. It's because I'm black. The reason I didn't get the job, because I'm black. The reason that I didn't get the loan, because I'm black. The reason I didn't get into that school, because I'm black. The reason she doesn't want to date me is because I'm black. I've been hearing this from my very inception. But I always thought to myself that surely this was, this was going to find its way out of the culture, that there was finally going to be some sort of maturation, awakening, especially because the people who were saying these sort of things were in my own age ranges, right? They were young. I didn't realize that when I would become an adult, that there would be other adults who were blaming their blackness, or essentially racism, the white supremacist system, for every damn thing in their lives. I never saw that one coming. I never thought to myself, there are 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds, and more specifically men, who are talking about, well, black man just can't get ahead. What do you mean the black man just can't get ahead? The black man has been getting ahead in an infinitum of examples. We have too many to point at this point. There's too many multimillionaires and even billionaires, individuals who have built things that most could not fathom just a generation, 2 generations ago. But yet the black man can't get ahead. So we're still going to use our race as a means to why we have not achieved and not done something of significance in our lives. And so, again, as my journey went forward, I didn't realize I would be in this place having these sort of conversations, and this would literally be my life, right? This is what I would do for a living. But I always had an inclination to tell the damn truth when I saw it, even if it meant that people were going to be pissed off. So here we are telling that damn truth. Dear black folk, is racism exist? Sure. Did slavery happen? Absolutely. Were your people colonized at some point? I know that without a shadow of a doubt. My father was the first class of black students that went into an all-white school, right? In Zimbabwe, where there was apartheid, where there was colonial powers that be. But I also had a father who made a decision that he was not going to look back, but instead look forward. Oh, easy for him to say. Why? Yeah, it's as easy for him to say as anybody else, but yet you may have allowed yourself to be given over to your excuses, to have such a low sense of self-worth that you believe that white man can control you. When you say that, what you are actually admitting to is that you don't believe that you are capable of. So when you say black folk can't do this, black folk can't do that, you're really speaking for yourself. You're projecting what you believe about yourself. And if that be the case, then work on that part. It breaks my heart when I can look at a multitude of different ethnicities, different cultures, different people groups, and see them thriving out of situations that seemed impossible. Folks love to talk about the little hat people, the Jewish folk, and say, well, they're the cabal, they're evil, they're this, they're that. Say a whole lot of stuff. You never even been around them folks. I've actually spent quite a bit of time around them folks. I've also spent time around Muslims. I've spent that time around Africans, etc. Global citizen. All right. And one thing I can tell you for sure is that culture is everything. So when you have a culture that promotes improvement, that promotes production, that promotes creation, that does not endorse victimhood, that does not teach its children that the reason why you will not succeed is this, but instead the reason you can't succeed is that. When you have that, no matter what the circumstances were beforehand, and I already know what I'm going to get. Well, you a tether baby. You ain't no black man. You ain't no FBA. Do y'all know where y'all got that? Foundational Black American. The man who pushed that is a PIMP, literally. A zesty one at that, in Tariq Nasheed. A man who is more of a con than anything else. Yeah, I said it. You listen to people, you allow them to be your leaders when the only road they're leading you down is to not get the things you actually want in your life. And then you look at somebody like her, somebody like myself, and you say, that's a sellout. I am against them. I am anti that. Does that make any sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? You are going to spend the rest of your life blaming history for your present, when you good and well could take that history and allow it to be a fuel for you, like many before you have. And I'm talking about the folks who came out of slavery. I'm talking about the folks who came right out of colonial empires. I'm talking about the folks who stepped right out of Jim Crow or were in the midst of Jim Crow and said, I am going to do everything in my power to create something for myself, as opposed to victimizing myself. But instead, you have fallen into the propaganda. And I have compassion for that, because all of us at some point have been brainwashed. We've been bamboozled. We have been conditioned. We have been given. I can even see this sister right here. And, everybody gets to have their own opinions. But on that wall, I see a couple of pictures of individuals who I know what those people are about. Full-blown grifters and con artists on that wall. But we all are on a journey. We all are on this pathway, hopefully, to waking the hell up. And a vital aspect of that, specifically for Black folks, we need to get rid of this mentality of, I have been colonized, I have been enslaved, and therefore I cannot. Instead, you could say, my forefathers were colonized. My forefathers went through Jim Crow. My forefathers went through. But guess what? I take those experiences and I use them as fuel. I use them as a reason to become all that I can be in a world that allows me the opportunity to be exactly that. Instead of continuously using the past as a reason to fail, you use it as your fuel to success. You don't want to hear this message from anybody, let alone a quote unquote tether baby. But I'll tell you why I'm probably, again, a better source for this than most. Because I am the first generation out of the colonizers' rule. I'm the first generation to be out of a colony. Again, look up Zimbabwe. And it's funny because, we have been colonized as oftentimes used by folks of the diaspora, etc. Folks in America, Black folks in America. But then when you hear from somebody who actually came out of the colony, you don't want to hear it anymore, because you want to hold on to your excuses. And I'm not saying this to try to break you down or, to be an advocate for the white man. Oh, you love the white man. I have a genuine respect for all humans until you obviously lose my respect. I hope the best for you. I wish the best for you. Even if you are given over to the most degenerate mentality, I wish that you would come up out of that. I wish that you would shake yourself of those spirits, but I'm not going to sit here and tell a damn lie. Yes, there is a reason why other people are thriving and you may not be. And it has nothing to do with what happened yesterday, unless it is the decisions that you did or did not make yesterday. And unfortunately, as a child, you are under the tutelage, you're under the guardianship or the lack thereof of the adults around you. But once you're an adult, you have the decision-making process to then make different decisions. You have gone through traumas. I understand. You've been through things. People violated you. You were unprotected. I get that. And I empathize with that. But do not allow that to be your excuse to ruin the rest of your life. I never really cared about people calling me out my name and things of that nature. The only part that ever got to me was the fact that I felt misunderstood. Like my intentions are genuinely good, but you will always be seen as the enemy. You're doing it for X and Y reason. It's like when I was on the dope, when I was an addict, I believe that my friends, the ones who care for me, the ones who love me, were the ones who were endorsing and promoting my behaviors. And I believe the people who were against me were the ones saying I should get off the dope. It's the same type of thing. You're judging me. You don't understand. Those are the people who are telling me, you're going to ruin the rest of your life. You will lose your life if you continue to go down this trajectory. I couldn't hear them. And so that's why I understand. I get it. When you speak in such a way you see me as your enemy or whatever it is, I completely understand that. I believe that many of these same people who were spewing some of these same messages back in the day were the enemy of black people, not understand they were the liberators, because the enemy is the one who tells you can't. That's your Al Sharpton, your Jesse Jacksons. That's your Jasmine Crockett's. You understand? Anybody who spews a message of it's harder, it's 100 times harder for the black man. He can't never make it. There's a glass ceiling, this, that, and the third. Those people are holding you back from what you could become, because the only thing that is genuinely in your way is your own belief system. If you have a belief beyond all shadow of a doubt that you can, the entire known and unknown universe will move out the way for you. That's facts. Shout out to Will Smith back in the day. The entire universe will conspire for you. Or Paulo Coelho, right? God will move in motion with you. God does for those who do for themselves, right? Helps those who help them damn selves. When you start to help yourself, the gateways open up. One of my favorite quotes of all time, Frederick Douglass. For 20 years, I prayed on my knees to be out of slavery or to be set free. And he said it was only when I started praying on my feet that I was finally free. Meaning it was only when I started to walk, to move, to do something about my situation that I was finally set free. This is a man who had to buy his freedom multiple times, who was in the confines of slavery. Yes, it was trauma, but trauma is not a reason to continue to create more of it, but instead it may very well be an opportunity to break those cycles and become so much more than we maybe ever could have been. I'm not trying to be a motivational nothing for you. I'm telling you the God honest facts. The only way you're going to get to a place that you want to be is you have to let go of those personal shackles, the mental shackles, the one that you have placed upon your own mind or allowed for them to be placed on your mind and allow them to perpetually be right there when in truth you had the key the entire time. So, yeah. The awakening is here. And I'm not saying that everybody is, just going to open. No, some people are going to have to be cleansed in the same way, during the flood. There had to be a refresh, a restart, because all that is necessary is a small group of leaders, a small group of pioneers, a small group of those who are willing to step into the unknown, are willing to step out of the cave, are unafraid of having arrows shot at their back because they know that no weapon formed against them shall prosper. Those are the type of individuals that are necessary. A small group that will make a drastic, massive change. So, yeah, shout out to all of y'all, every single one of y'all. Even the ones who, again, are in this place of hatred, resentment. There's people who watch me maybe even more than those who have a support for me, who have a love for me. There are people who hate me who watch me more, but there's something in their spirit that's being moved, and I'm well aware of that, and I welcome that. That's why I won't block your comments. I won't do any of those things. Maybe you say something so crazy that YouTube deletes your comment. I don't delete comments. I don't. I let everybody see exactly how you feel, and I'll let you express yourself. I'm likely not going to respond to you, right? And obviously I don't get to see 90% of my comments for real. And that's no offense. It's just I'm in this space. I'm in the space downloading and expressing. So, I do my best, but I appreciate everybody who tunes in, whatever side you may be on. If you got love, if you got hate, whatever it is, because them two ain't too far apart. I tell you that. So till the next time, appreciate y'all. Peace. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.